Hi everyone! Have you ever wondered how the well-known logos of various companies looked like before? Perhaps it'll be difficult for you to imagine, but such familiar things were completely different a few years ago, not the way we see them now. Today we're going to tell you about the logos of famous brands at different times and learn how they changed. Let's go! KFC. If you like fast food, then at least once you might have been in one of these restaurants. They're located around the world, and there you can try a juicy chicken in a special batter, which recipe remains the secret of the company. The first restaurant outside of Kentucky opened in 1952. And at the same time, the first logo was invented. It had a rather bulky white inscription, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and an image of Colonel Harlan Sanders, the founder of the company. The good-hearted oldie with the mustache and a white suit moved to the second logo as well. However, his image changed a little, but the usual red signs were still far away. The famous abbreviation KFC was first used only in 1991, and in 1997 appeared an updated and more realistic Colonel. Well, he had a little blue color. The last change in the logo of the Kentucky's famous chicken happened in 2006. Instead of a white suit, Sanders wears an apron. The colors and overall look became more specific. According to the president of the company, this appearance should remind visitors that the Colonel is a real person and that he was the first chef of the restaurant. Pepsi. This drink was born much later than its main red and white competitor, but quickly gained popularity, and unlike Coca-Cola, never was afraid to change the style of the logo. Initially, the Pepsi brand name was a very beautiful handwriting inscription, Pepsi Cola, but gradually the font began to straighten and the inscription became more legible. The buyers no longer had to squint to understand what's written there. Then the inscription was placed on the bottle cap, painted in red, white and blue. Well, and then the lid itself was used as a logo. Over time, the ribbed edges flattened and the lid turned into an ordinary tricolour circle. This image seems more familiar, right? The 11th and last Pepsi logo change was in 2008. The designers slightly tilted it, changed the width of the white band, and there they stopped. But who knows what'll happen in a couple of years. Nintendo. The logo of the Japanese company Nintendo remained unchanged for 60 years, until it was time to go beyond the borders of the native country. To attract Western buyers, the traditional character writing had to be replaced with a more understandable word in Latin, and that was the right decision. You'll agree that a few mysterious characters can't be that memorable, and moreover, you can't even read them without the proper translation. Well, the rest of the transformation of the logo can be hardly called significant. The inscription moved, the fonts, colors, shape and thickness of the frame changed. Nothing interesting in particular. The last time the logo changed was in 2016, and then the owners of the company decided to stop. Apple. The author of the first logo type of this world-famous company was Ron Wayne. Very few people know, but he is the third founder of Apple and the biggest loser of the 20th century. That's because he sold his part of the shares after just 11 days from the day of foundation. Imagine how much money he would have had by now. By the way, the logo that he created was very different from the current one. There was the English scientist Isaac Newton and the apple who's about to fall on him. The trademark lasted only a year, unlike the next one, which was the face of the company for 22 years. Newton was removed from it, but the apple remained. It was bitten and painted in joyful, colourful stripes, and only in 1998, the Apple logo acquired a familiar look. The colors disappeared and now it's just become monochrome. Perhaps the company showed maturity and seriousness this way, or maybe Steve Jobs gave into his love for simplicity in everything. Anyway, today the famous Apple image is recognized all over the world and is even imitated with other bitten fruits. Chupa Chups. Chupa Chups can seem the most ordinary candy familiar to every child in the world, but there's something interesting in its history. This well-known caramel on a stick was invented by Enrique Bernat. The founder of the company wanted to create such a candy that a child wouldn't get dirty from head to toe while licking it, and wouldn't begin to wipe his hands on his clothes. And his brilliant idea of a caramel on a stick was supported all over the world. Naturally, such a popular candy needed a recognizable wrapper. Initially, the emblem was was very simple, the red text on a white background. Several times the logo was changed, but it still remained faceless, until the time when Salvador Dali himself took the design. Yes, you're not mistaken, the well-known artist really put his hand to the creating of a familiar image. It was a personal request of the founder of the company, and within a few hours, Dali created the Chupa Chups' famous daisy-like trademark. Starbucks. Perhaps Starbucks is the most famous coffee house in the world, and even if you don't like coffee at all, you can always go for a tasty dessert, a milkshake, or just make a stylish photo with a branded cup. Yes, some people go to this coffee shop only for a couple of pictures, because the famous green logo usually collects a whole bunch of likes in social networks. Initially, the creators of Starbucks planned to stick to the marine theme. They even gave the name of the company in honor of one of the characters of the novel Moby Dick. Therefore, the image of a tessellate mermaid was chosen for the logo, a sea creature from ancient Greek mythology. For the basis of the image, they took an engraving from the book of the 15th century, and well, this most mythical girl was, let's say, not very dressed. Then the designer made several changes. With his help, the siren got a smile and began to look much nicer. In 1971, the first logo was similar to a cigar brand and had a brown, very coffee color. 16 years later, a familiar green color and stars appeared in the image. In 1992, the logo focused on the siren's face, and in 2011, Starbucks decided to change their logo radically. According to them, for all the years that the siren represented their company, she managed to become an independent star. Therefore, designers have removed the green bezel, the name of the company, and the stars, leaving only a smiling tailed girl, and I must say that one recognizes this logo easily. Google. Perhaps the colourful Google logo is one of the most recognizable brands on the internet, but like the World Wide Web itself, Google's logo has changed over the past 2 decades. For example, this is how it looked in 1997. Yes, it really reminds one of the standard colour headers created with one of their earlier versions of Microsoft Word. But in defense of the developers, it's worth saying that this logo was at a time when Google was just a research project at Stanford University and was far from being the world's search engine. After it was decided to officially launch Google, the design of the logo was improved a lot. Appeared several elements of the already familiar image. Although the order of the colors was still different, it was corrected after only a couple of months, and only the font and the bulk of the letters were changed. They received a shadow and then lost it again. The latest version of the logo reflects very clearly the modern desire to simplify everything, which can only be reached. And the Google logo lost all possible beautiful scribbles, but it began to look more stylish and even slightly brighter. Nestle. Well, confess, do you love all sorts of sweets and other delicious things? Then you're very familiar with Nestle, which produces many different tasty things for people of all ages. And what kind of chocolate they have? Yummy! The company received its name from the founder, the pharmacist Henry Nestle. He also decided to use the family coat of arms as a logo. However, in 7 years the logo completely changed. Instead of a knightly armor, appeared a nest and a bird, which feeds its 3 chicks. A happy feathery flock symbolized the family and maternal care. This isn't surprising because at the time the company produced infant formulas. The logo in this form lasted more than 100 years, gradually taking on more and more modern outlines. But the main change didn't happen at all in the palette or thickness of the lines. In 1998, the company's marketing specialist conducted a study and suddenly found out that the 3 children in one family are extremely rare, which meant that it was necessary to change the number of birds in the nest. So they reduced the bird family, and today you can observe only 2 chicks together with the mother on the Nestle logo. Lego. Once upon a time, the Lego brand sold wooden, handmade toys, but in 1949 the company began manufacturing plastic construction toys, which completely changed its future. The very first Lego logo looked like an imprint, which was used on the first toys. Today it seems terribly old-fashioned, and this isn't surprising, because it was created in 1937. But the years passed, the world changed, and with it changed the Danish company's logo. It first turned into a small dark sticker, and then gradually got an oval shape. Today it can be seen only in the old advertising or some children's films. The first rectangular logo appeared in the 60s and was used for 13 years, until in 1973 it was replaced by another, a square, created specifically to conquer the American market. And I must say that with this logo, LEGO managed to conquer the hearts of not only American children, but also people around the world. Today, LEGO's called the toy of the century, and it seems that it's absolutely deserved. Instagram. You would agree that it's simply impossible to imagine modern life without Instagram. Today, every self-respecting company has an account on this network. Fans follow the life of their idols, and some people simply amuse themselves by posting in the internet funny pictures with cats and short videos. This application for sharing photos appeared in 2010, but already managed to survive a serious change in its logo. Initially, the original icon of Instagram was the image of a retro camera Polaroid one-step, which changed only slightly during 5 years, while the application was gaining popularity. Gradually, Instagram ceased to be just a program that can apply filters to photos, and designers decided to change the logo. They asked colleagues in the company to depict it in 5 seconds by memory, and almost all drew a lens, a camera, and a viewfinder. So the designers decided to save these details on the updated icon so that it remains recognizable. But there are some rumors that designers are going to arrange another large-scale change already next year. It still remains a mystery what exactly they've conceived, but perhaps the logo will become a bit less vivid. We hope you enjoyed today's video and the history of these famous logos. Well, we'll ask you a little for our efforts. It'll be enough if you give us a like. Do you like cool and entertaining experiments? Then you have to check out this channel. There you'll find a bunch of useful life hacks and a lot of cool homemade stuff that will definitely catch your attention. Subscribe and learn new tricks to surprise your friends.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks, and we'll be right back to you as fast as we can.